Hello again. I have been receiving some questions about unexploding torpedoes. At first I thought that they were actually being destroyed or at least damaged slash detonated before impact by these frigates' defense turrets before they hit. But I'm going to show you what I discovered. This is the usual damage that I've been showing in previous videos. But the interesting part is, let's try to squeeze in through here. Okay, there. It's kind of like a tight squeeze. Okay, is this those two pieces, this one right here and the other one right there, they are the broken halves of an unexploded torpedo. This one being the propellant portion. As you can see, it lost all of the small thrusters. And now let's go and see the warhead. This is an unexploded warhead, which in any ship nowadays, it's a dangerous object to have floating inside. More so in space. The thing could be, banging against any wall. It could be detonated by the ship's own inertia when it moves. I thought it was an empty husk. I thought that somehow one of the missiles of the frigate actually hit it. It detonated, but for some glitching occurrence, the contents exploded, but they left the heavy armor of the warhead intact. Well, that's not true. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna show it to you outside. And you can clearly see here that this torpedo actually glitched through the ship. The ones that exploded did that damage underneath. There's one thing with these type of cluster warhead torpedoes. They do have to reach a certain speed. Otherwise, they just bounce off, they explode outside, or they just don't detonate at all, like this one. To do some recap, I'll show you how the warhead works and how it glitched through. Okay, it's pasted here. I'm gonna show you the primer. That is the primer, a small ship warhead. And now I'm gonna show you the actual payload, which is in there. I'm not gonna elaborate more on this one. As you can see, 62 explosive components. It has 2 of those small cargo containers to double the charge. So the idea is that this thing explodes, destroys the containers, and those explosive components that you saw, they scatter around inside the ship after it's been penetrated by this heavy armor tip here. At first I thought it was a dot. I don't know if you remember that there was this I don't know if it was a bug or an in-game mechanic in which a warhead was damaged. It was kind of like as if it was grinded down, but it didn't explode, and you could grind it up or bounce it off and it wouldn't explode. So I'm going to show you that this is actually a live warhead. There. We have the usual damage done by it. Light armor completely destroyed. Heavy armor retains integrity, and other components like the merge block get destroyed. So this warhead that you saw, that I just copied, was in this section of the ship. I noticed when I was trying these torpedoes that actually only 2 of those torpedoes exploded. I managed to found that one. The other 2 did damage, and now to find the second unexploded one, if there is a second unexploded one, if it didn't disappear, I'm going to cut this frigate and paste it elsewhere. Like, okay. Well, no, actually, we have two torpedoes unaccounted for. We have one unexploded. We have one that actually exploded. As you can see, these are the remains of the penetrating tip. So the other two, I don't know, they might have been exploded, they might have like disappeared. Anyway, well, um, in conclusion, let me paste the frigate again. It's nothing new. I bet you have seen this in many other videos before. When the game reaches this certain amount of lag, or when there's two objects at a certain speed, like a super high speed, and they collide, the game cannot calculate for all of those collisions between the blocks, and they end up glitching through, like clipping through each other. So basically that is what happens with those torpedoes. And I'm beginning to think that the internal explosion, I'm almost sure, the internal explosion that happens here, it's more on the account of that glitch that the torpedo glitches through and then explodes, than the penetrating tip actually penetrating and then detonating. So that's kind of like the partial conclusion that I have reached, that these internal explosion, like armor penetrating high explosive torpedoes, they do work mainly because of that glitch of the clipping through. Well, I will do some more testing with explosives, and I'll be keeping you in touch and informed of my findings. Take care.